inhumanity of this Trump administration is just beyond the pale. We are better than this.
Children are terrified. Families are afraid to send their kids to schools. This is not about immigration. This is about intimidation. It's not about restoring law and order. It's about terrorizing communities that Donald Trump doesn't like. Donald Trump is using ICE to provoke violence in communities that have historically been welcoming and safe.
Minnesota has become a hub for U.S. immigration and customs enforcement officials. Another day, another ICE detention rocks America's Twin Cities, and it has now become routine. The Trump administration has appointed ICE officials to curb alleged ongoing fraud in Minneapolis, and during an immigration crackdown, ICE agents shot and killed a Minneapolis motorist. The Trump administration has backed the action, branding the victim a domestic terrorist. But the Twin Cities have said enough is enough, as thousands of people braved the Arctic cold, Subzero temperatures on January 23rd, to rally in downtown Minneapolis against the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. The demonstrations are part of a wider pushback against President Donald Trump's tougher immigration enforcement in the state, as protesters have gathered daily since January 7th after the fatal ICE shooting of Renee Good, with some skipping work to join marchers and over 700 businesses across Minnesota closing in solidarity with the movement. Organizers say the widespread turnout, from small towns to major theaters, marks a historic moment in the movement. Police detained around 100 clergy members protesting immigration enforcement at Minnesota's largest airport. Donald Trump is using ICE to provoke violence in communities, one protester said. Another added, it's about terrorizing communities that Donald Trump doesn't like.
You know what? I don't think this cold weather is going to stop us from doing what we believe and what we think is right.
Standing back and not doing anything doesn't help with, the situation. Everybody's scared, so we need to speak out.
Yeah, this is first not how we treat our neighbors. The inhumanity of this Trump administration is just beyond the pale. We are better than this.
Children are terrified. Families are afraid to send their kids to schools. This is not about immigration. This is about intimidation. It's not about restoring law and order. It's about terrorizing communities that Donald Trump doesn't like. Donald Trump is using ICE to provoke violence in communities that have historically been welcoming and safe. And why? Why is he doing it? That too. To militarize American cities. It is state-sanctioned violence, no different from what Alabama did in Selma in the 60s.
The scale and stakes of what we now create for one another are immense, are impossible and urgent, and they confirm what we have always known. We need each other. And together we are irrepressible. Irrepressible.
A 2-year-old detained with her father during an ICE operation in South Minneapolis was reunited with her mother after a court challenge forced the family's return from Texas. Authorities also detained a 5-year-old boy during a separate arrest, claiming his father fled, a charge disputed by the family's lawyers. Both cases have sparked outrage, with attorneys and officials accusing immigration agents of using children during enforcement actions. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance visited Minnesota on January 23rd, amid intense protests over federal immigration enforcement, asking local leaders to stop resisting and help reduce chaos. He also defended the detention of the 5-year-old toddler and justified the ICE arrest.
I wanted to meet with business leaders, with ICE officers, with local law enforcement to try to understand a little bit better what's going on so that we can tone down the temperature a little bit, reduce the chaos, but still allow us as a federal government to enforce the American people's immigration laws. The guys behind me are doing an incredible job. And frankly, a lot of the media is lying about the job that they do every single day. You understand that these people are under an incredible amount of duress, an incredible amount of chaos. And because of a few very far left agitators, a lot of these guys are unable to do their jobs. The best way to facilitate reasonable enforcement of the law, but also to lower the chaos in Minneapolis, would be for state and local officials to cooperate. Now, I will say, on one final positive note, I actually think that there's some hope, some reason to think that there's going to be better cooperation in the weeks and months to come. And what I find is that the 5-year-old was not arrested, that his dad was an illegal alien. And then when they went to arrest his illegal alien father, the father ran. So the story is that ICE detained a 5-year-old. Well, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to let a 5-year-old child freeze to death? Are they not supposed to arrest an illegal alien in the United States of America? If the argument is that you can't arrest people who have violated our laws because they have children, then every single parent is going to be completely given immunity from ever being the subject of law enforcement. That doesn't make any sense. No one thinks that makes any sense. The directive that I got from the President of the United States is meet these guys halfway. Work with them so that we can make these immigration enforcement operations successful without endangering our ICE officers, and so that we can turn down the chaos a little bit, at least. I think a lot, actually.
ICE held a separate press conference to defend the detention of the 5-year-old, claiming the child's father fled the scene and that the family refused to take him in.
This week, ICRO conducted targeted enforcement operation to arrest Adrian Alexander Conejo Arias, an illegal alien who was released back into the interior of the United States by the previous administration. When officers approached Conejo Arias, he and his child were in a vehicle. Arias fled from law enforcement on foot, abandoning his child in the middle of winter in a vehicle. One of our officers stayed behind with that child while other officers apprehended his father. After conducting the arrest, my officers stayed with the child. They cared for him, took him to get something to eat from a drive-through restaurant, and spent hours ensuring he was taken care of. Again, my officers did that, not his father. My officers did everything they could to reunite him with his family. Tragically, when we approached the door of his residence, the people inside refused to take him in and open the door. Let me say it again. They saw the young boy and they refused to open the door and take him back. This is the human side of the job that my officers do. They are family men and women. They have children of their own. They sacrifice everything for their families. I know for a fact that they were heartbroken to see the child's own family leave him behind. Fortunately, Conejo Arias eventually requested that his child stay with him. We do everything in our power not to separate families. So they took him back together to Minneapolis, here to the city, to the ICE facility for processing. And now they are being well cared for at a family residential center, pending their immigration proceedings. This is the real face of ICE, ERO, Border Patrol, and our allied partners. The media doesn't know our officers. We do. My officers do the right thing no matter how difficult or how long it takes throughout the day.